If I'm good at hockey, I'll have friends.
When adolescents, and maybe girls in particular, are trying to be popular, it's that they feel like if you're popular, you will always have connection. And the number one fear is, I will be left alone.
That is not Riley.
I know. It's a better Riley.
A Riley who won't be alone next year.
It doesn't always mean that teenagers conduct themselves in very kind ways, but at the bottom of it is always this like, I don't want to be alone, I want to belong, and often I want to belong to something more popular.
I guess I'm fortunate because I realized this early. I'd rather have one person who sees me and chooses me than 20 people where I have to maintain something that's not real.
See? As long as we like what they like, we have all the friends we need.
We were telling, the filmmakers and the producers, this is relatable. Based off of our personal experiences and stories, they were able to animate that into the film.
It wasn't even like what we wanted to take out, it's what we wanted in the movie as well. I think that the chords, when they started saying, oh, I am kind, I am good at hockey, and like all those other things, I realized that sometimes the anxiety can get to me, but deep down I know who I am.
Hello and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist who loves movies. Joining me today
is Alan Seawright, a professional filmmaker who needs so much therapy, and also
Dr. Lisa Damour. Hello, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am delighted to be with you. I'm in my clinical office. This is where I take care of people. So I am so excited to be thinking with you about this amazing film.
So for those who don't know, Dr. Damour is one of a two-person consulting team for Inside Out 2. You and
Dr. Docker Keltner.
That's right.
Okay.
I didn't know if he was a doctor. I knew he was a docker.
So he was primarily who they consulted on the first Inside Out, but they brought you in for Inside Out 2, presumably because of your work, The Emotional Lives of Teenagers. I mean, this is the title of the book, but it's also your expertise. Here's the weird catch. I love books like this. Alan usually hates them. Guess who read this book?
We've got her! I'm going to have her sign it through the internet. I don't think that'll work.
So why were you so pulled in by this?
I felt the feelings I needed to feel. I learned a lot of things that my kids have said has improved my parenting.
All right.
Oh, there's no better critic than a teenager because they are brutal and they are honest.
So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be watching a few clips from Inside Out 2, and we wanted to get a peek behind the curtain on the psychological consulting process that went into these scenes.
Yeah, I always thought Riley had a secret crush on him.
I never saw the appeal.
Of course, Joy wouldn't.
To be a hero, but darkness haunts my past.
100%.
Who's that? Oh, that's Riley's deep, dark secret.
Okay, so why, one, is Riley so obsessed with his character? Mm-hmm. And also, why is Riley keeping him back here in the vault?
As soon as I say it, we'll all remember it, but everybody's surprised when this happens with their own kid. Romantic interest begins around 5th grade in kids. Mm-hmm. Age 10, much younger than people expect.
Yes.
And so what I really appreciate is like the way in which this film like endows Riley with a romantic life at the right age. Like, I mean, kids do get interested in romantic things. The second thing about having a crush on a cartoon character or a movie character, there's a safety to it. There is a safe way that you can kind of be like really romantically interested, satisfy this romantic kind of crush, like a crush needs somewhere to go. But you're not quite getting involved with real life people or even 3D people. You know, you can kind of have those feelings, but have them in a way that lets you get to know them and come to understand them before you really have to put them on the ground in real life.
So why the draw to dark and brooding and tortured, do you think?
It's a great question. I mean, I think there is this sort of evolution that's happening for young adolescents where their minds are becoming much more sophisticated, especially, Riley's 13 in the movie. She's moving towards 14. There is a shift to a much more broad-mindedness, kind of existential understanding of the world, seeing things from new, fresh sides. And I think that sometimes for kids can take them down kind of interesting and dark roads, right? Like that they'll suddenly want to read a lot of sci-fi. They'll suddenly be interested in dystopian novels, right? Like the world takes on new dimensionality, and kids are fascinated by it. And that dimensionality often is not the kind of primary colors and lightness that may characterize childhood things.
Well, and the concept of a vault, a lot of shame.
Yeah,
right?
that's where you bury your shame so no one can ever see it.
Right. And so Riley's got a crush on a video game character nobody can know. What role does shame have in adolescent development? Is there any positive to it, or is it something that just needs to be worked through?
So shame is generally negative. You know that as a clinician.
Yeah,
Though it
I
has
know.
a
I just gave you a softball pitch, but...
It has a positive side. We feel shame when we've done something that harms our relationships with people or that is socially unacceptable.
Yeah. Sure.
And so a little shame is not the worst thing in the world. If you do something gross or offensive or harmful, a little shame is going to keep you from doing it again.
Yeah.
The problem with being a teenager is that they feel everything so exquisitely and intensely that something that should have sometimes a little shame that helps you course correct becomes way bigger than it needs to be.
You know, making excuses or putting off going to the doctor...
It's a lot like Riley's friends putting off telling her that they're not going to the same school next year.
In both cases, does more harm than good. So no more making excuses or putting things off when it comes to your health.
This is why you should check out ZocDoc. They make it so easy to find and book a doctor near you that there's no excuse to put it off.
ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors.
Choose the right one for your needs.
And click instantly to book an appointment.
It's as quick as Riley making a goal in her hockey game.
We're talking about in-network appointments with over 100,000 healthcare providers in every specialty.
From mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more.
And when you're searching for a doctor, you can filter for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and who treat basically any condition that you are searching for.
Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of your first booking.
You can even score same-day appointments. Is that hockey? Am I doing hockey right now?
I think that's golf.
Okay.
If I need to find a new doctor, I'm going to use ZocDoc and find a great doctor near me.
Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/cinematherapy to find and book a top-rated doctor today.
That's ZocDoc.com/cinematherapy.
ZocDoc.com/cinematherapy.
So, Michigan, who's your favorite band?
Everyone's staring at us. There's only one right answer to this question.
Which is what anxiety would think.
They're so awesome.
Get up and glow! I was all over them in middle school.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was a glow girlie. Relax.
So, embarrassment takes the controls, and she's drawing the wrong conclusion. Valentina Ortiz was like, hey, great, I love them.
Yeah.
You don't still like Get Up and Glow, do you?
Okay, don't panic. What do we do?
It's a very judgmental question.
Ennui was my favorite character, I will tell you that.
Oh, easy.
Oh yeah, I love Get Up and Glow. Love Get Up and Glow.
So Riley's first foray into sarcasm causes a giant earthquake in her brain and the creation of the actual sarcasm.
Sarcasm.
I'm just pointing out Get Up and Glow and sarcasm. We have two great puns in as many minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And as a dad, I appreciate that.
No, the pun game in this film is off the hook.
Sarcasm! It can open for miles! Run for your lives!
Sarcasm? Really?
Genius. Genius.
Glow is so awesome. Riley.
Look at the eyeballs on this.
Get Up and Glow.
Rolling and rolling.
Guys.
Oh, why are our best friends always trying to hang out with us?
We just went to their concert.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, but like...
But what? We had a great time.
Grace, you are not helping.
Oh, yeah, we had a great time.
girl.
Great time. Great time. Why can't they just leave her alone?
What are we gonna do now, Joy?
We go the long way, which is the best way. Stretch those hammies, Anger. Let's go.
Stretch those hammies.
Best night of my life.
Well, this has been really fun.
Extremely, but we're gonna go now.
Okay.
Bye. Oh, this is the best band ever. Michigan knows what's up.
See? As long as we like what they like, we have all the friends we need.
There's so much. I mean, you could write 3 textbooks on what they captured about what it means to be a teenager.
See, I have questions, but I just want to know what you're thinking at this point.
So one is the move away from what feels babyish, right? One of the things that can feel so shame-inducing as a teenager is like, that's little kid stuff. And so she accidentally stepped in it, said a little kid answer, realized what she had done, and just becomes incredibly embarrassed. The other thing is the worry about being basically left alone, cut from a pack. the desperate need to belong, and how core and raw that feels for teenagers. So she's trying to belong to them, and her friends are getting in the way, and so she, doesn't treat them well because she wants to belong to this new group. And it doesn't always mean that teenagers conduct themselves in very kind ways, but at the bottom of it is always this, like, I don't want to be alone, I want to belong, and often I want to belong to something more popular than what I think I've got right now.
Yeah. When I was an adolescent, I just floated to different social groups in middle school trying to see where I would fit in and acting as if my interests were aligned with theirs, right? As long as we like the same things, we'll have friends, we'll never be alone. And I guess I'm fortunate because I realized this early. I'd rather have one person who sees me and chooses me than 20 people where I have to maintain something that's not real.
That is not Riley.
I know. It's a better Riley.
A Riley who won't be alone next year.
Your characterization, I think, is beautiful and empathic and really gets teenagers.
Yeah.
And you are so right that so much of what we need to do is help young people appreciate it's quality, not quantity. You don't want a ton of friends. You want one or two good friends. That's actually what we see helps people over time.
Yeah.
And I think that when adolescents, and maybe girls in particular, are trying to be popular, it's that they feel like if you're popular, you will always have connection. Popular means lots of friends. And the number one fear is, I will be left alone. And so popular becomes appealing.
I love our girl.
How could you not? She's super smart.
And great at hockey.
She's really creative.
She can be bored, but never boring.
But she can be a little sarcastic from time to time.
She can have really bad ideas. Occasionally, she can do the wrong thing.
And sometimes, she can be too hard on herself. But every bit of Riley makes her who she is. And we love all of our girl. Every messy, beautiful piece of her.
This actually, I have a very vivid memory of a conversation with Kelsey and Meg where we got way down the road of perfectionism. Perfectionism has like a light and a dark side. The light side is striving for excellence. The dark side being berating oneself for coming up short. And so we got had this long conversation. And actually, I remember saying, like, well, do you want to know how we try to solve this clinically? And they were like, yeah. And I said, our goal in our clinical offices is to help people acknowledge that they have shortcomings while still holding themselves at a reasonable level of self-regard. It doesn't usually help teenagers if you tell them their mistakes are okay or no big deal. They really do care.
Yeah.
It really helps them much more. And I find this true with adults too, to say, I see the mistake. And yeah, you may want to not do that again, or you may want to try to do better. What I don't want you to do is tear yourself to pieces because you made the mistake, right? That distinction I have found to be much more effective clinically. And the fact that now that is a message in this film that will be seen by so many people, I get goosebumps thinking about the power of a vehicle like this one.
Yeah. But you make a bad decision doesn't mean you're a bad person.
That's the key.
Or you do the wrong thing doesn't mean that you are wrong or that there's something wrong with you. And it's this division between behavior and identity that sometimes we stray from our core values. That doesn't make us bad or shameful, but it also doesn't let us off the hook. We need to make it right. And one of my favorite moments in this movie is when she apologizes to her friends.
Yeah.
And her friends extend compassion to her because we need both.
Yep, I agree.
Well, I just want to say thank you on 3 levels. As a clinician, as a parent, and as a film fan. And we've already talked to our Pixar friends about this, but I wanted to thank you for your contributions to something that I can use to help people in my practice. Or when I went to see it with my kids, afterwards we had a nice long discussion that is helping them every day to manage their emotions because we can call back to it. That is beautiful. That is a gift. And thank you for your hand in that.
That's so kind.
And also joining us today are Natalie and Rhea, 2 members of Riley's crew. This was a crew of teen girls that the geniuses at Pixar brought on to help them look like geniuses because they didn't know exactly how to be a teen girl in the mid-2020s. So what did the whole process consist of? I know you started 3 or 4 years ago. It's been a while. But what was your role? What did you do with the Pixar crew? How often were you meeting with them? What did that look like?
So basically, we met every 4 to 6 months to review reels, which were versions of the film.
Okay.
We got to see it from when there were blotches of color and just a few sketches to when it was fully animated and all the characters were in the movie. And we got to see all of those things progress as the years went on.
That's amazing. Can you imagine if we were kids and we got to do something cool like that?
Can you imagine if we were us right now and we got to do something like that?
That's true.
I was just gonna say that we wanted to make it like relatable and how we would react in Riley's like shoes and like empathy and stuff. Yeah.
Very cool. Were there ever any notes like, none of my friends would ever say that, I would never say that? Guys, you gotta rewrite that completely.
I distinctively remember this pool party scene where Riley did something really embarrassing. It was so bad. I was like, we have to cut this out. We definitely have to cut this out. Yeah.
Enhance 224, 176. Track right, zoom in. Right there.
So?
She's hiding something. But what?
What is she doing?
She's looking at our look.
No, it's much more than that.
She looks the same to me.
Overlay and compare. See? Riley then, Riley now, Riley then, Riley now.
So it's so obvious.
But what does it mean?
So obvious.
She knows we're hiding something.
What is happening right now?
I don't know.
I can't take this anymore! You spilled the tea!
Coach Roberts isn't gonna be our coach next year.
Oh, man.
We got assigned to a different high school.
Aha!
Oh. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No big deal.
This is a huge deal.
Okay, so scenes like this, it's not just the languaging, but the emotional experience. Because, you know, they could say, how do teens talk today? But there's also, how would you feel if this was dropped on you by your friends?
Playing on the same team? Friends are forever, right? Yeah, of course.
I can't wait to get to the ring.
When do we get our schedules?
So for a scene like this, what were some notes that you might have given or some insights that you might have had? And if you don't remember specifically, what are your thoughts on it now?
We did get to see like all of the movie, so it came in the full, like, I think it was 90 or 95 minutes. I can't remember the exact time, but we had to.
Because if you started with reels, that's kind of the animatic of the full film, right?
Yeah. And so there were definitely times where we had to like pause and like take notes. They gave us our own notebook. So that was something that we poured a lot of time into. And then within our meetings, we got to review them and kind of talk about them, even though it might have been uncomfortable for us because we're talking to these big filmmakers. They really wanted to hear the feedback that we had.
Yeah. It, especially like, it wasn't even like what we wanted to take out, it's what we wanted in the movie as well. I think at first they introduced us to the sense of self and we got introduced to that, and then they took it out for one of the films, and then we were like, no, we want it back because I feel like this actually makes Riley who she is. It's her sense of self.
Yeah.
I think that the chords, when they started saying like, oh, I am kind, I am good at hockey, and like all those other things, it came back to me, and like I realized that I have those like sense of selves, and I understand that like sometimes I could like the anxiety can like get to me, but deep down I know who I am, so I definitely know that the sense of self needs to be in there. So
in the moment of that clip when they said, oh, you spilled the tea, like that's definitely something Riley's crew enjoyed a lot because that's kind of like the lingo we use, I guess, in this age, era, however you want to say it.
I am just such a huge fan of yours, and now here I am meeting you face to face. Okay, how can I help? I can take notes, get coffee, manage your calendar.
So premise of this movie is that anxiety hits with adolescents. Are you feeling that? It wasn't too long ago. I mean, it's been several years, but you were children and now you're teens. Do you feel the shift? Do you feel these emotions, embarrassment, and boredom? Like you feel them all coming on?
Oh yeah, not happening.
Definitely freshman year. I know that was like a few months ago, but I felt all of these emotions freshman year. I mean, I was nervous. It's high school, new transition.
Hey, maybe when I make the
I would say so. I think especially starting college courses. I started on Monday, so it's definitely brand new.
Oh, geez.
I've been like, 50 pages by Wednesday and doing this and that. And then I see these other people who are just like, oh yeah, I just have like not a lot to do, or I'm gonna go take a break on this, and I almost feel like envy because I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. I wish I was in your shoes, or things like that. So, but anxiety definitely, I think, was relatable to all of us because whether it's with school or extracurriculars and things like that, I think definitely with COVID, mental health became a big thing for teens our age,
For sure.
and so anxiety definitely played I would say, a key role for me.
Okay.
I love that ennui boredom is perpetually on a cell phone and just over it. Whatever it is, she's over it.
Is our future. Yes, I agree completely. We need new friends or else we'll be totally alone in high school. Right, Joy?
Well, I mean, maybe.
Here we go.
Wait up. Thanks for showing me around.
The filmmakers are doing so much with that scene because we get to see, Riley meeting her idol, and then we get introduced to all these new emotions, and we get to see how those new emotions affect this new situation.
Right.
How did the both of you help the filmmakers capture that sense of stepping out of your comfort zone into a new, awkward, scary social situation?
I think it was mainly just giving like positive feedback and insight into the characters. Like a lot of the time in the film when embarrassment does show up, because he doesn't have, a lot of clips in the movie, but when he does show up, he's like scrunching his head in his hoodie or scared or sweaty palms and things like that are all things that we experience physically when going through those emotions. And so we were telling, the filmmakers and the producers, this is relatable. I remember one time I did this, and based off of our personal experiences and stories, they were able to animate that into the film. And so that's kind of how the realism of each character came about.
Also, it was our experience too. So basically we were all like telling our embarrassing stories. Like there was a lot of patterns of like societal pressure, like, oh, we need to be perfect, we can't make mistakes. So I feel like that all conjoined into like one single problem or like experience for Riley.
Well, we want to thank you both for joining us. This has been incredibly insightful, and what a wonderful opportunity. We're middle-aged men and we're super jealous. So, very cool.
Thank you
so much for having us.
So until next time.
I am ennui. I am what you call the boredom.
If we like the same things they like, we'll have friends. And
watch movies. Thank you to our patrons over on our Patreon. Folks like
Neilani Halpern White,
Harry,
Junie,
Sky Storm,
and Bill McDonough.
If you're not on our Patreon, it's a party. Lots of cool stuff. Go check it out. And you can join these fine people.
You don't have to feel envy anymore. You can just feel joy.
Oh, wow. That was pretty good and gross.
I'm coming for you, Riley! Oh, yeah? Watch this!